if any elected official on the dais were in the same position City Manager Jane Shang is in, we would be suspended and removed from public office. Is she any better than any one of us up here? Quiet, please. Please, please. Is she above the law? Above our city standard of code of conduct or code of ethics? I say no, she's not. And the time is now to accept the truth and restore to the city and the residents of Deltona the respect, trust, and representation they all deserve and should expect from their commissioners. Please. And therefore, I make a motion to immediately terminate with cause the employment of the City of Deltona City Manager Jane Shang.
Second.
Thank you, Mayor.
There's a motion on the floor by Commissioner King to terminate the city manager with cause, seconded by Commissioner Bradford. Is there any discussion from the City Commission? Not, may we vote, please? Motion fails. The motion. Ladies and gentlemen, the motion fails 5-2. And now we're going to we will be 5-minute recess. Thank you. 5-minute recess.
Inez. Good evening. Inez Nazario, resident of Deltona since 2009. I would like to begin my statement by asking the question of what the following words mean to our council: trust, ethics, integrity. On August 6th of 2018, I came before this council regarding my concerns about Ms. Chang with regards to her ethics and integrity. You should all have received a copy in your email inbox of what I presented then. As a resident, it is embarrassing that our city council, with the exception of Commissioner Bradford and Commissioner King, have chosen to look the other way or sweep under a rug a major problem with regards to Ms. Chang's conduct and her lack of ethics as a city manager. Today we have Ms. Chang, who has admitted to her guilt in a criminal case of voters' fraud, and yet this council again continues to choose to trust such a person into a position of leadership and influence in our community. I know several of you on a personal level. I know that you have a keen interest in developing our next generation to become great future leaders. So the question here is, why are we teaching our kids that it's okay to commit a crime, and as long as you admit to it, you can get away with it with little or no consequence? Why the double standard? Seriously, what legacy do we want to leave our children? Let us not blind ourselves with the idea that children need more parks, more activities, more programs to avoid crimes in our city. And indeed, we need those. But more importantly, our future generation needs trustworthy role models. Leaders they can trust with ethics and integrity. I'm very confident in saying that if the crimes committed by Ms. Chang were committed by an ordinary citizen, the outcome would have been very different. So again, what trust, ethics, integrity means to this council. Not long ago, I was reading a news article that says that Volusia County was once a wellspring of good ideas that spread statewide and even nationwide. Today, not even a needed half-cent sales tax is viewed as a positive thing. Why? Because citizens have ceased to trust our local government. And the city of Deltona is no different. I like to think that Deltona is a wellspring of good ideas, great people, unlimited potential. Many great things are indeed happening in our city. Yet, all of these are overlooked and looked upon with mockery because Ms. Chang action and behavior have tainted and overshadowed all the great things that are happening in our city. Commissioners, your positions, your deeds, and actions will follow you wherever you go. So my last statement and question is, as leaders of this city, what are any of you doing to heal the breaches and distrust we have towards this local government? Much of it due to your acceptance of Ms. Chang's disgraceful actions and behavior. One more time, what does it mean? Trust, ethics, integrity. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Doug McDonald,
I believe he's not here. I think he left.
Jane Doe.
Yes, Heidi, I'm supposed to direct this to you, okay? I'm really disgusted. I've lived in this county 40 years. 40. I have seen nothing but this really city going down. You're talking about going up? Corruption is not up. Corruption is destroying this country now. And you all sit there like you're such high people, really. You're nothing. You're nothing. You're a disgrace to this county. I raised my kids in here. They were very active in sports. I don't see that anymore. People don't really care. All you got is the majority of renters. Fly-by-nights because they don't want to stay in this city. I've seen more deaths. I've seen more killings around here. I've seen more break-ins. I see gangs. And you call yourselves leaders? Mr. King, thank you. I know I'm not supposed to address him, but I thank him for his honesty. I thank you for his integrity. You are an example of what this country needs. The rest of you are a disgrace. I don't know who the second person was, but whoever it was, I commend you for standing up for right, because it's obvious your co-employees could care less about the city. And I think it's a disgrace, Heidi. I think that this should have already been settled. It shouldn't have even gotten to this point. And you know 7 felons Zhang committed. 1 got dismissed. Even the attorney, the state attorney, I'm sure was just as corrupted and paid off. You people think we're stupid? Well, you're wrong. And it's not going to stop because we're going to keep going until you're out, Zhang. And until you people start getting it together, the rest of you just might follow her.
Pat Rimstead, and if the following individuals can come up, Albert Bryan, Kathy Bryan, Richard Bellich.
Madam Mayor, thank you. I'm Pat Brimstead. I live in District 1, Mr. King. I found out about what happened with City Manager in the Daytona paper, and I was appalled. Had this happened to Joe Blow on the street, there'd be no discussion. They would be in jail. At the very least, there'd be a trial. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. You can't blame everybody else for your mistake. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am.
Albert Bryan.
Albert Bryan, Deltona. When all y'all came into being commissioners, y'all had to take a drive up to Tallahassee, take a few classes, correct? One of those classes was about ethics. Then y'all had to sign a slip of paper saying that you would abide by those ethics, correct? Yes. Chapter 12, Part 3 of the Florida Stats. I'm going to summarize parts of these ethics for you. Foremost among the goals of code is to promote the public interest and maintain respect to the people of their government. I think y'all failed on that one tonight. Summarizing again, misuse of public office, that you cannot use your position for special privileges that benefit themselves. By using City Hall as her address, I think that was benefiting her, nobody else. Didn't benefit him, her, her, him, her, or her, but her. That was it. Okay. There was an intent here to defraud the public. Under the Code of Ethics, that's a direct violation. All of y'all signed, including her. A direct violation. So if all these people out here go to the Code of Ethics of Florida and file a complaint about everybody that voted no because y'all signed that Code of Ethics to uphold it, and y'all did not uphold those Code of Ethics. So there should be a complaint against each and every one of y'all that voted no tonight, as well as her, for violating the Code of Ethics. Because in the state of Florida, you're supposed to think that you're upholding what we think. We, the people, think. That's why there's a Code of Ethics. The Code of Ethics stands for one thing: to allow the public to have trust in you people. Wonder how much trust there is tonight.
Kathy Bryan. Kathy Bryan.
Sorry. I'm going to change it up just a little bit for a second. Unfortunately, the ladies' room called me when we first started the meeting, and I missed the first part about the computer app for CE. And my question on that is, and I, even if I'm not here, a lot of times I'm listening, so if it's answered in another meeting, that's fine. But is this, if it's something that is it something that can be used for reporting as well as communicating? Okay, so is there a method in place to keep an eye on, to make sure that that system's not abused? Because I don't like my neighbor. I don't like my neighbor over there, so I'm going to report him, you know. So hopefully there's a system of that. And the second thing I wanted to ask about that, is there any way that that can be tied in with emergency, I don't know what, but you know, in case of storms or an emergency in the city, people need help. If they're already tied into that, is there some way that that could possibly be done with that system as well? Make it a, you know.
We'll look into that, and we're going to have an update. It's supposed to go at the end, start at the end of July, which was done in the presentation, but I'd like an update at the beginning of July to see how we are and what's exactly is it going to do. And I know there's follow-up and there's a lot of safeguards in place. So it'll definitely be another update at another meeting when this gets ready to launch.
I'll be looking out for it. And then, of course, I wanted to thank Mr. King. I know he didn't do it for thanks, but was able to put all that information together in a factual manner. There's a lot of information going on out there about what's been going on here at City Hall, and you guys know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of that stuff that's infused with a lot of opinion, but he took and made it facts. I am deeply disappointed. I know a lot of people who are really good at their jobs, but if they cannot stand up to the ethics put forth to them by the company that they represent, they're gone. I know some really good people, really good clinicians, and they're gone because their ethics weren't there. And so I'm very saddened. We all make mistakes. We're human. Not one of us perfect. We know that. But I think this goes a little beyond that, and I'm very sorry that you guys saw fit this. I know there's a lot of hoopla tonight, and I just wanted to bring a little bit of calm about it, but I feel like this actually should have maybe been done behind closed doors, and the decision should have been made by the commission, not necessarily in the circus arena here. No offense to you guys, because I've been part of a circus myself, but this should have already been handled prior to us getting here to this point tonight. So, anyhow, thank you.
Thank you.
Richard Bellick.
Richard Belloc, Deltona. Heidi, you and Nabbitt, you've been here for 7 years, I think, up there. Why is the city in such a bad shape? I mean, you know, it's a drug den. It's a drug den. You heard Skip. I came in 2016 telling you about it. What'd you do? You ignored me, tried to make fun of me behind my back. Just because I have knowledge, that was the reason why you made fun. And bootlicker. They wrote him up as a bootlicker in the paper. A bootlicker. Can you imagine a guy his size being a bootlicker? Huh? Did he ever tell you about when his son tried to get $100,000 from the SHIP program and Brandy White caught it and stopped it? He was trying to get a grant for $100,000. And you people want to tell us you're honest? Now, Bob, you're just amazing. You're writing about a Gestapo code enforcement, yard sales. You're a Gestapo. Maritza, you're a Gestapo, and you're a Gestapo.
Mr.
You're helping
Bellich.
them.
Personal attacks, please.
What?
Easy.
What are you talking about, Heidi?
You can direct.
Stop my time if she's going to interrupt me. Stop my time.
I'll give you the extra
if she's going to
time.
interrupt me.
You can direct the personal attacks to me regarding the other.
Heidi, if I directed personal attacks to you, I'd be here for 4 years. Come on. What, are you kidding me? A drug den. Remember Skip, the lawyer, backed me up? 2016, I talked to you about drugs. There was Hair Dye Hanukkah. We called him the oldest teenager. Here's a guy who wouldn't come out if he had one gray hair on his head. John has control over you people. John Masarchek is twice as slick as I thought he was. He runs yous. And he's the one that said about your son taking $100,000, by the way, Nabich. And don't say he didn't, because you're a liar. Just like your phony lawn business, he put that out on the street on you too. And you sit up there and you still take direction. And you could stare at me all you want, because if you think you scare me, you oversized beard, you don't. Now, Mr. King, I'm sorry I'm a little excited, but you're a hell of a man. You really are. You don't belong in the same arena with these clowns. And Bradford, you don't belong in this arena. Come on, these people are pawn scum. This is pawn scum at its best right here. Low-class pawn scum. Don't even want the people that, I believe you were just here for your $200 a night. That's what I believe. And you just run away like drug addicts. You go get high somewhere or something. That's what I believe. And you should have stayed in the Bronx, because you're a liar. You're a liar. That's what you told us. You were from the Bronx. You ran a big business up there. Where you from now? The zoo?
Mr. Bellich.
But anyway, Heidi, I mean, come on. You're a pawn scum. You really are. You just, how could you hurt these people like this? How could you give her all the money that she got? Come on, they paid for her boyfriend to move. Who the hell ever heard of something like that? What has she got on you, sir? I mean, is there so much corruption that she keeps the records quiet that nobody could get in? Because I believe the books have opened in Deltona, there'd be arrests and indictments. I know for a fact of some of the deals that were made. I mean, it's really, really sad. Fatso, you keep staring at me. Hi, Fatsy. What do they call you? Bootlicker. Turn red, bootlicker. You look like a big fat pumpkin.
Mr. PJ.
My time ain't done. Mike Williams is going to come up and tell you he's a breath of fresh air. He's another houseboy.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I was a field Negro back in the day. I was too dark to be a houseboy.
Mr. PJ Audits, and if the following individuals can come up to the front row, Citizen 8, Michael Bowman and William Sell.
Carissa, could you call the next person again? The first person?
Mr. PJ Audits,
He left.
Citizen 8,
Good evening. I'm a disgusted citizen of Deltona in District 2. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I just feel compelled to come up here. I know it's going to go in your ear and out the other side like it always does. Nothing anyone says here ever gets anywhere. And some of you up there, unfortunately, have drank the Kool-Aid, and we don't appreciate it. Commissioner King, thank you for not only your courage, but for saying exactly what you said you were going to do when you were running for this position. That's what an example of for the people is. Maybe y'all forgot that because you don't even know what ethics are. Because if you had ethics, Shang would not be sitting up there right now looking wherever she's looking at right now, because she's not looking at me. She wouldn't be sitting up there. She needs to go. Why is she still here? I find it odd in your public speaking guidelines, or whatever they are, your policies you have, no person can engage in disorderly conduct. And if we violate your rule, we could be removed from the commission chambers. Really? But yet she can commit felonies and she still sits up there? We exercise our First Amendment right to come up here and speak. It might not be comfortable for some of you. You might get your feelings hurt or your panties in a wad, but get over it. We have the right to be up here to speak our mind. We only have 4 minutes. 4 minutes. You guys have all the time in the world to talk all the nonsense, and we get 4 minutes. And you're trying to strip away our right to say what we want to say and avoid uncomfortable and personal attacks. I feel personally attacked by Jane Shang. So what are you going to do about that? Are you going to throw her out? Because I feel personally attacked by it. 16 years, Deltona's gotten my money. I've been a resident in my home for 16 years. I have a damn right to sit up here and say what the hell I want to say. And you're not going to take that from me or anybody else sitting out here that wants to come up here and speak. Is it the $175,000 salary that you'll have to pay if you fire her? Because if that's the case, I'll put up a GoFundMe tonight, and I personally pledge $1,000 towards getting her out of here.
Michael Bowman.
I'll pledge $500 for bootlicker.
Mike Bowman, District 5. First, I'd like to thank Commissioner King and Commissioner Bradford. You guys seem to be the only ones up there that have the stones enough to stick up for the citizens of Deltona. The rest of you, I don't know how the hell you guys got elected. I don't know how the hell you guys keep your seats up there. At this point, I'd like to encourage everybody who's watching here tonight, everybody who's watching at home, start writing to the state, start writing to the governor's office, and let's clean house. Let's get all these people out of here. Let's get some fresh blood up there, and let's get some people who actually care about the citizens of Deltona and care about honesty and integrity instead of this bullshit. Thank you.
Thank you. William Sell, and if the following individuals can please come up to the front row: Eric Brandt, David Sosa, and Samuel Lahan.
Good evening, Council. William Sell. I live in a little city called DeBerry, and we've had our share of issues in the past. It kind of makes me an expert. Y'all have lit a fuse on a keg, and you've been pouring gas on it for the last couple months. When you guys decided to rule with an iron fist and take on a lady who was trying to adopt a young girl to be her daughter, that's when things started to go downhill. Your highest paid employee is your city manager. She was embarrassed or afraid to put her actual home address down. I go to dinner with our city manager. There's no reason to be afraid of the public. They pay your salary. Wherever your home is, whatever address it is, it's being paid for by these people's taxpayer dollars. To hide from them or be afraid of them, why would that? Nobody in the city of DeBerry has ever been afraid of our public. And we've had our share of issues. We lost an entire year and a half fighting to get somebody out from up there on the dais. We got organized. We were professional. I'm telling you guys now, I would have been tased at any meeting in DeBerry with what went on tonight. I think Heidi's afraid to actually get things in order because it's just making things worse now. You all have dug a hole, and there's only one way to get out of this hole. And I know government works slow, and I know I'm counting on the citizens of Deltona to start sending emails to all of you guys and flooding your inbox. I'm expecting them to call you. I want them to show up at these meetings, fill out speaker cards, be professional, be courteous. Nobody's going to listen to anybody being called a bootlicker. It is funny sitting in the audience, but they're not going to, they're just going to shut out. They're not going to listen to you guys. I promise you. You have to get organized. You have to put pressure on those people who you elected. They will do the right thing. It just may take a few months to get there. I think tonight's vote was a little premature, but I think you all are going to get in the right direction. I think Mr. K and Mrs. B will start making phone calls, starting to get some more council members on board with them and do the right thing. There's no way, ask yourselves this when you go home tonight, will your city manager, if she was booted out here tonight, could she ever get another job as a city manager in any other city?
Eric Brandt.
Trust me, you want him here instead of in person. You're up, Eric.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, listen, first of all, Heidi, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you, but you're just going to fucking listen to this shit and you're going to fucking take it. And they're not going to be as nice as those people that are already pissed off at you. What the fuck is wrong with you people? You have shanghaied Deltona, and you should be ashamed of yourselves. Bad girl, what you going to do? What you going to do when the fuck the cops gotta come for you? And I'm coming for you. I've been looking for a good reason to come back to Florida, and you just did it. How dare you? How can you people show your fucking face to those people there? This woman committed and admitted to 6 felonies, and you still have her as a city manager? Their felonies are fraud. You're a fraud, Heidi, and I'm coming for you. No justice, no peace. Fuck Heidi and Shanghai and your Doom Squad police. How dare you got girls being raped in your city and you're paying this woman to Shanghai you. You people should be ashamed of yourselves. And I'm coming for you. And I'm bringing my chalk. So you better get fucking ready, bitch. I'm coming for you.
Well, see,
I believe I said it all.
trust me, when Eric comes to town, it's going to be worse. You're going to see.
Shit show. Yeah, I come with my own shit show. I bring my own shit. You provide the stink.
Sir, the profanity.
Fuck your profanity.
This is on live TV.
Go ahead and silence my speech. I'll give you 30 seconds to pull your head out of your fucking ass before I slap a 1983 on your ass.
Hang on 1 second, Eric. I've already let them know that we've got petitions ready to go to the Middle District if you want to engage in prior restraint. If you want to engage in prior restraint, we are ready to file the suits. Do you want a federal lawsuit? Another one. How many do you have? Near versus State of Minnesota. New York Times versus U.S. There is clear-cut Supreme Court case law on prior restraint. You're not going to get away with this shit, Heidi. You're not going to play this Nazi game where you're going to act like you're going to tell us what we do. You don't tell us what we do. The Florida Constitution is on our side. Article 1, paragraph 1. We are the body politic. We run this meeting. We own it. We're the body politic. Article 1, paragraph 5, last line. We have the enumerated right to direct you. That means we tell you what the fuck to do. Bang your wood.
One warning.
Wood.
Mr. Stuck, one warning.
One for what? What
for
are you
your
going to do?
Profanity. This is on live TV.
I don't get, no, well, you know what? You need a fucking 8-second delay button.
Second warning, sir.
Well, then give me a third. Come on. This is a shit show and you know it. You are not going to engage in prior restraint. You are not going to engage in prior restraint. What are you going to do? You want to have me removed? You want the suit filed? The paperwork's ready to go. Come on. And there is your check.
And there's your time.
David Sosa.
Thank you, Mr. Stuck. Have a nice evening. Thank you, Mr. Stuck. Thank you.
David Sosa.
Deltona resident, District 6. Fortunately, I was actually going to come up and talk about some business. I know Commissioner Vasquez was supposed to have some information for me tonight regarding the center with year-to-date totals, you know, how much profit, how much loss for this year-to-date. And I was going to talk about the city water department and where we stood on that. And unfortunately, with the circus that was created tonight by the city commission, it just, there's no point talking about any of that. I mean, we've turned this into a three-ring circus tonight. Unfortunately, Commissioner Vasquez, what Commissioner King was talking about when you interrupted him was ethics. That's it, plain and simple. It was ethics. That was a violation of ethics, what she did. You might have to process that, but that's what it was, and that's what Mr. King was talking about. It was a violation of ethics. We need to sit and listen. McFall, I don't know what you're doing, man. Seriously. I really don't. You guys, you got me. I'm lost. I'm at a loss for words. First time in my life, I'm at a loss for words. Yeah. Vice Mayor, I mean, what do you got? Other than you get a big smile on your face every time somebody, you know, I watched your budget meeting the other day where I had some concerns I'd like to address. All you had was a big smile on your face every time somebody talked about a fee increase. You know, it's disgusting.
Samuel Lawhon.
Thank you. Samuel Lawhon, 646 Killhall Road, Osteen, Florida. I come here, are we still talking later about the cell tower, or is this, I take my time now to say I don't want it? Is that
Sir,
still on the agenda?
The cell tower is not on the agenda today.
All right, well, it was the last time I was here, it was moved to this time, I thought so. Okay, anyway, I want to talk about what then Marcia said, and I'd appreciate if Marcia doesn't say anything while I'm talking. As far as the first thing about the key to the gate, let me tell you about the key to the gate and the injunction. The attorney that signed that injunction was against my will to give him any kind of relief at all to lock a gate, but it does say within reasonable means of access that they must provide me. So we talked in a lot of litigation about an ADA, handicap gate, whatever, and was agreed to in different things. Well, they come back to my attorneys after they assigned that and ask if I would help them design one, because they couldn't figure out how to do it. I said, no, I'm not helping you design nothing. It's a public right-of-way to my property, easement, that everybody, including the mayor and all of them, signed. It's recorded, deeded, and signed by everybody, and it still didn't hold water. So whatever they tell you, you can't believe it even if you got it in writing. The judicial system in Volusia County is just as bad. Anything they want, they get. If you can't get it out of Volusia County, which hopefully now that I finally got one of them into court, we're in an appeal on it, but hopefully even if it dies there, now I can go to this state where I get some relief, I'm sure, because I actually follow the law and not the politics. But furthermore than that, they showed up after saying in the injunction, if you'd have read the whole thing, it says it has to provide access for plaintiff within reason or reasonable means of access is actually how it's worded. Now look at me, I've got no use of my arms, and they bring me a damn key for a gate and expect me to put it in my teeth and go up there and unlock it, I guess. Now that's the kind of ethics that you do have setting up there, just to let you know. So everything Marcia says, you can cut it in half and throw both halves away, and you might have the truth somewhere in between them. The key to the gate was I had a lock on the gate while I was waiting for this to go through court that they postponed for 2 years. They held it up, postponed it, invite me up and say, we want to make you an offer, and then say, no, it's not really an offer, we just want to talk. But they'd contact the court and say, oh, we're negotiating again, let's postpone it again over simply blocking my access. And they couldn't get it through, so finally they knew they couldn't do it, so they signed it the last minute, the day before we were supposed to go to court. It was an emergency that they had to sign, and the attorney that signed that is no longer working for me because he said they wouldn't do something so stupid as to try to put a lock on the gate. After I had one there, they cut it off and hung it on the gate. I don't know if you've seen the post or the different things, but I cut their gate down and left it in their road as payback. They haven't locked it since, and if they lock it with a key, I will cut it down and cut it into pieces. They won't use the same gate. If they could arrest me, they would have. They've got nothing to stand on. They listen to their attorneys. They never read the things. Just like what she said. You heard her. She won all 3 cases. They had all of this. They give me everything that I asked for. Sure they did. That's why we're still in court. You just can't believe them. You can't trust them. There's a lot that needs to be replaced, and I hope the voters show up and put some people up there that care about what they look like when they look in the mirror at themselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brandy White, and if the following individuals can please come up to the front row: Patty Gibson, Edwin LaSanta, and Michael Williams.
You got this. I might have to flip around. They like to turn the cameras all different angles when I'm up here. Brandy White, Deltona. You guys cannot say that I did not give you every opportunity. That's what I'm going to put out there. Every opportunity. I know each one of you read my email about the retaliation and how it then went to the extreme of telling the newspaper that I have terroristic tendencies. You remember that? You familiar? You paying attention? Every opportunity to correct that so that I could feel safe coming back here. But you know what? You didn't. And I'm actually really glad you didn't. Works great. Specifically you, Heidi. I want to talk on respect real quick because none of you will get an ounce of fucking respect from me until you give it back to our residents. You are creating what you're getting. Because you know how many times I've come up here before any of y'all were here and spoke quite eloquently and nicely and calmly, and I got shit in return. So that's what you're gonna get back, and probably from everybody, every meeting now. Brilliant idea. But I wanna go on what you said in the beginning of every meeting, that I should feel safe here, because our good old VCSO is here to protect us. And in my letter and email to you, I was very clear in why that is not a protection, although it should be my protection. Why? Because in every instance of my retaliation, they were involved. They were there and they helped facilitate it. So tell me why I should not be afraid to be standing here and suffer the retaliation once I leave here? Am I gonna get a nice little quote in the newspaper from you? Piece of trash? No? So I decided I'm going to take your advice, Heidi. I'm not going to fear the retaliation that I know I'll get. I'm going to face it head on, all right. Just like I've been doing previously before she called me a terrorist. You think the felony would have silenced me, right? Interfering in my adoption should have done it, but it didn't. So here's what I'm going to promise you. I'm going to promise you the very next time I receive a single, even hairline of retaliation, VCSO, get ready, because y'all are directly responsible, because you're supposed to be protecting me according to her. She just put you all liable, because according to her, you will protect me from further retaliation. And if you can't, you might want to have a little discussion with her, because you haven't stopped it so far. I didn't plan on coming tonight because I know what's going to happen. there'll be further retaliation. But I'm ready. And I'll face it head on. You should have let me do it the right way. Honestly, you should have just told her to knock the shit off. How hard would that have been? A little bit of accountability. None. Commissioner King, as my commissioner, I applaud you. And Commissioner Bradford, you've responded to me as well, even though I'm not even in your district. And I know you speak up for more than just your district, and I appreciate that too. And I know you came to the forefront saying you were going to do one thing, and you followed through, and for that, I thank you very much. The rest of y'all can go to hell.
Patty Gibson.
Pat Gibson, Deltona.
Can you hit the button?
Push.
There you go.
All right. Okay, there we go. Can we start now? Thank you, Mr. King. Thank you, Anita Bradford. You are upstanding people without a doubt. It was on video when you guys were trolling for votes during a Q&A that was videotaped. I asked a direct question to McFall, Ramos, Maritza. If a city employee broke a Florida statute, violated a law, would they be terminated for just cause? 6 felonies. 6. None of you can give me an answer. During the last thing, you said if she was convicted, to get deferred prosecution, she was convicted. What part do you not understand, Mr. McFall? Are you people that fucking stupid that you cannot understand? Bang your little mallet. Please do.
Please.
I asked you the same question at the Q&A. Where is your ethics, Heidi? Really? That's the comment? That's the look you have to give me? You are supposed to be above this. You're trolling in the dirt. You're sloughing around with the pigs. And the only thing that I can actually think of, what dirt does she have on you guys? There's got to be something. There's got to be some dirt of why you will not fire her. What is it? Is it criminal? We will figure it out. You want to regain our trust. It was on the news the other night. I was glad to get an excerpt of that. I put it on Facebook. How are you going to regain the trust if you can't even do your job correctly? Any other company would have fired her. She used Deltona resources. Who brought her mail? She even used Joyce at one point to figure out how she could not have her name and stuff and how she could not have it listed. What other resources has she used of Deltona, our tax-paying dollars? But this is all right with you, huh, Heidi? I mean, when we find 300 votes in a closet, unfortunately, Mr. McFall he had to do a runoff. It's disgraceful. Look at the company that you even kept during your campaign. Didn't that guy go to jail? Lived right down the street? You fucking disgust me, Heidi. Bang your fucking mallet.
Enough.
You want to remove me? Go ahead. I can assure you I can make bail tomorrow.
5-minute recess, ladies and gentlemen.
Mark Metzger, District 5. So, it's been a long night. Couple things. First of all, I think that everybody up there has taken enough of a beating probably tonight. Maybe it's not over, I don't know. But I think everybody needs to go home and really study on their moral compass. And as a group, get a moral compass. I think that'd be pretty important for moving forward. And the only other thing I really got is thinking about the mayor's comments to the news. And it sort of bothered me a little bit to state that the issue with the city manager is a private matter. You know, the taxpayer dollars pay the salary. The building that was illegally used as the address is paid for and maintained by tax dollars. And I guess I'm a little bothered by that statement. I don't know if that was something off the cuff and they caught you not ready or what, but that's all I really got at this point. I think there's been enough said already and everybody's got the point. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The anonymous speaker is next.
Hello. Okay, since you're not going to give me a hard time about name and address, I will
Is your mic on?
I will move forward quickly then. The fleecing of the many for the benefit of the few is over. So I thought, till tonight, I do not consent to a felon having this much control over my money, and I think I speak for who's left, their money. I know that you live here, but you get to oversee things. We don't. There's no transparency. And you're allowing this person with a clearly has, this is no longer about mistakes. This is about character trait, and it is moral turpitude and dishonesty, and she has an open checkbook. Open. I do not consent. Also, I can only ask myself, I've been trying to wrap my brain around how individuals get up there and turn into a mob somehow with the code enforcement retaliation, which you, Heidi, had said prior to taking this seat was Dale Baker's problem, that he was the problem. He's gone. Things have gotten worse. Law enforcement's involved now. You also told me that it was the other mayor. He was the problem. He's gone. Things have gotten worse, Heidi. I don't understand. I don't understand how you guys do the things that you do. You speak so nice and you say the right things. I guess as a politician, I don't know, a special kind of person has to run for it, and then you have the outliers. So I guess I have to wonder, are birds of a feather with Jane? What else could it be? What does she have over your heads? I don't understand. Guilt by association. The majority of you, honestly. Marcia was appointed as the attorney for this city. She had 6 months to move into the city. She is not. You can use the loophole of the law firm all you want, but you've got 2 charter officers up there. One of them lying about where she lives. The other one, who does not live in this city, does not know what's going on, does not care, frankly. She refuses to accept legal documents. That is outlined in her job description. The continued use of code enforcement and now law enforcement is so offensive to me as an American, as a human being, as a resident of the city. I don't understand. Help me understand why you have to hurt others in these insidious ways. And believe me, right now, make no mistake about it, if I start smelling code enforcement or law enforcement anywhere near my house, my friends, or my family, I'm not going to tolerate it this time. I'm not. I won't. Will not. I used to work with a judge. He was very wise. He used to tell his juvenile criminal defendants would come in, he would give them a second chance. And he would say, just remember, you may not pay me today, you may not pay me tomorrow, but you will pay me. How much will you all owe?
James Madison.
Yeah, we don't give our consent.
Thank you, James Johnson again. Appreciate it. The reason why I'm here is felonies. I don't know if you guys know felonies. I brought it up a little bit ago about the fine. There's 2 people in this room that I know have been charged with a felony. One of them was behind me. The other one, if the other one would raise their hand, I don't know if they would or not. However, I don't know if people are afraid of these cameras right here, because myself, all you commissioners up here myself has been intimidated for the First Amendment right. There's a deputy standing over here that's been watching me pretty much tonight anytime I walk around, because I'm not a familiar face in here. But even at this city, I have been intimidated for First Amendment protected activities. The woman behind me here, Ms. Brandy White, has been charged with a state law that was forced upon, I guess, the deputies to charge her with a felony, which is a wiretapping statute. I just want to bring 3 things to your attention here. Prior restraint, everybody probably knows that now. If you don't, you have a city attorney that, she doesn't remember words, but maybe she can look that up and tell you what it is. The other thing that I was going to recommend is they have a court case called Smith v. Cumming. It's a city in the state of Georgia, and that's within our district of courts. That was ruled upon a long time ago. You have another one, actually a friend of mine, Madonna versus Fernandez Rundle. I don't know if you've ever heard of those or not. I think that's the defense that she used to get out of her charge for a felony. I don't know if any of you guys have had a felony charge on you, with the exception of one person I know here. But if you haven't, it's a life-changing situation. It costs you money. It costs you time. It takes you away from your job. But what I'm here for is to let you guys know that I want to put you all on notice that you are the head of the snake here, if you will. The people that are working within this city here do not respect First Amendment protected activities. I would immediately let them know. This deputy maybe over here maybe understand that he probably understands the Smith v. Cumming. But you want to let everybody know that this is not a weapon. It is when it records you and you do something stupid. However, you should let people have the right to be able to come in and document situations with the city officials. And if you're afraid of it, I want to warn you right now, if Eric Brandt comes to this town, it's going to cost your citizens a lot of money. A lot of money. That's the person that was on the phone that was screaming and hollering.
Eric's coming.
He will sue the city to no end. Let them know that First Amendment protected activities should be welcomed by you guys. It's what we have flags sitting here flying around for, and I don't know if you pledge allegiance when you start this up, but a lot of people have died for that, and maybe to waste this last 1 minute, have a moment of silence for, I don't know, all those rights that have been violated, I think, right? Do you have any questions for me at all? Can I, yeah, no? Usually I don't do this, but that's what it sounds like, crickets in here. Thank you. Please do something about it.
Kelly Kaufman. Kelly Kaufman.
Okay, so your name is Jane. Jane, you need to look up when I'm talking to you, because that's called respect. I don't know if you know what that is, but you need to learn that, because I can tell you right now, what you went through with your felony is less than what you guys are charging my brother. So, and your paperwork that you've gone through is automatically disappearing? Wow, yet my brother's paperwork isn't disappearing. Yet you guys are still in his house every day. You're still checking out the house. I'm sure the code enforcers are still loving to sit there and look at his house. It's amazing that my brother can get worse stuff than what you get. How can that happen? How can you do that to somebody? How do you sleep at night? That's the important thing. You couldn't possibly be able to sleep. You must have some damn good things against these people except for him and her, because they're the ones who can stand up and sleep at night. You know why? Because they tell the truth. There's 5 letters in that. You might want to look that up. And if you're anything like the attorney, who can't even sit here and pay attention to anything and looks up in the air, goes around, what the hell is that?
That's how you do your law, is you just look up in the air and don't pay attention? There's important people that are talking here. Apparently she thinks she is. My brother certainly couldn't get that respect from any of you. Any of you. But yet you want the respect, and Heidi, you told me that you were going to take care of the city. What happened to that? Because you're not. And I voted for you. And this is what you're going to do. And she gets away with it. My brother didn't get away with it. You didn't stop from them. Yet it's still going. I'm still fighting it. To today. And yet you guys said, oh, we'll look this up and we'll look that up and we'll take care of this and we'll take care of that. Wait, Jane, is that your job? Because obviously you don't do your job. Because if that's the job that you got appointed to, you suck at it. And you are a fucking loser.
Ma'am.
No, I can swear. I'm allowed. I am allowed.
Senate is not protected by the First Amendment, so you're not.
I can swear as many times as I want, sir.
Kelly, continue.
So let me tell you something.
You go read some case law.
So let me tell you something, Jane. If you get away with what you did, which apparently they voted you to stay on, my brother's going to get a vote too. And he's going to get stuff lowered and he's going to get things gone off of his house. That's what's going to happen. Because if you can get away with it, so should my brother. Do you understand those words? And Jane, let me tell you something. You are going to get haunted because karma bites you in the ass really hard. And it will haunt you. And I can't wait to see you get karma because it's going to happen. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. We'll close the public.